Alright, we are live right now. Yo, Jen, we are trying to get Jen in here. Invited.
Okay.
Finally,
Huh?
finally.
You sent to the wrong one.
I sent two. That's what I did.
Fine.
I just tried to make sure you get through.
It's chopped off.
Yeah, same here. Mine is chopped off too. You
Hmm.
need to move it back a little bit. It's only that when you're solo and you're looking at it, you're like, man, this thing is revealing a lot. Yeah, I think that's much better. Move it up a little bit. And
Sit on the pillow.
all right. So, how are we doing today?
Almost Friday. Friday, Jen.
Yeah, and yesterday, okay, guys, welcome to our pod sessions. We're gonna call this pod sessions one because we have not done these in a while, so we're starting all over again for the year. And today we're gonna talk about yesterday's particular episode, which we had with JR Sparrow. And
Episode
oh, JR, I don't know what episode it was, but it was with JR Sparrow.
204.
Oh, so you know what it was. I
Yeah.
I don't count that. I don't look at that. I look at okay, here we go. Maybe I have it here. Okay, so we're gonna go over the session we had yesterday. Yes, it was JR Sparrow 204 round table, and then it was about leveling up your game. Mm. All right. Brief thingy about JR Sparrow is just he's a content creator and his podcast is called WV. I forgot the name. Sorry, I didn't forget the name, but I kind of missed. I don't want to butcher WV Uncommon Place
Mhm.
podcast. That's what it was, and that's what it is. And he has been doing that for a while. And he comes to the morning chat, podcasting morning chat every morning, and we that's where we met, and actually how we get to hang out with him. We'll go briefly upon your takeaways. What takeaways did you get from that particular show? Give me one takeaway. We can go. Let's start off with.
I would say the listener migration
Hmm.
concept, which apparently he has coined, and that's pretty cool. I reached out to him about. He mentioned it very briefly in one of the morning podcasting empowered podcasting sessions, and it just really my ears perked up. Like, wait. And so I, sent him a message, and he was just like, "Oh yeah," and so we, made a plan to do this episode, and I just thought it would bring some great value and definitely a learning opportunity for me. Definitely trying to improve and grow and develop the podcast more. You being a part of, speaker platforms. He's a speaker just coming off of a festival run like you have. So we have a lot of synergies here. So I thought it would be a good fit.
Yeah, I like that the idea of how he was explaining it. and with the listener migration, how you take listeners from one, well, definitely not taking them away from somebody else, but you create your own community, and then you kind of herd them to a particular community that you'd like to keep them. And he had his from Discord, and then he created Discord to the other one called I forgot that name. It's right on my yeah.
Was it
Well,
Crystal? No, maybe not. Hi,
yeah.
Crystal, or
So he got them to a different format
mhm,
where they have access to him and he has access to them, and they can communicate. That is what is growing a community. Even like Facebook, you can get a Facebook page and have your community there. A lot of people have done that.
mhm.
Corey Gums is one for BPA. We were with him on Clubhouse. Clubhouse went over to Facebook, Clubhouse and Facebook. Then he created his own website, and now we're on a particular page that is specifically for Black Podcast Association, and that's where we meet up and we have our discussions and all the good stuff over there. So that was one of the great things, like you said, that came out of it on terms of listenership migration. I like the elevator pitch where he talks
Yeah.
about how you will get monetized, and he pretty much broke it down easily, not like the way most of most of the people would kind of go around it. He just told you, make sure you know who you're going for, know what your product is, and everyone's product is unique. We don't share the same products. And if you're going to be able to talk on the mic and your voice is different and your cause is different, there's somebody out there who will definitely align to you or will subscribe to what you what you subscribe to, or you're prescribing to them. So that is one of the things that I liked. And in his monetization pitch says, hey, this is what you need to do with your with how you want to monetize your stuff, and start small. Your local business people, your is it your local business people, then you go outward to these other companies, try to figure out what exactly they may need from you and what you offer them, and you try your luck. You're always going to get no. And remember what I said about those things, the things that I work with this year. Uh, Not everybody can go. What's the worst? What's the not the worst? What's the best thing that can happen? And if you get another one, a third one is what next? So if someone rejects you, you ask yourself, what next? You know, who's next actually? Who's next? So you're looking for the next one. You don't get hurt. This is part of you understanding and getting grit to whatever you want to achieve. Nothing is going to be easy, but you have to try. You know, the first step, walking through a forest, you'll go back and forth, but you'll find the path. Just keep at it. That's what I say. What do you think about that?
No, definitely. The elevator pitch is a good tool to have in your arsenal, and it could be applied to any business model, or it doesn't have to be podcasting. It could be whatever small business. You could be selling candles. Whatever it is. These things that we've talked about can be applied to that. Even the listener migration. There's been conversations about not having all your eggs in that social media basket. Don't let, Instagram or Clubhouse be the only way that you have this network of folks. For some reason, what's going on with TikTok's future uncertain and things like that. Have your community where you can access them, whether that's your own personal website or your Discord page. Maybe it's a monetized Discord page. That's the avenue. In so many different ways you can flip it and slice it. So, the listener migration and having an elevator pitch, if you have an opportunity to, speak with someone that may be a fit for a opportunity, be able to describe, what you have going on in a really, short matter of moments, so that you don't miss that opportunity.
Would you say a 5 minute conversation with yourself every time when you're asked about your podcast, you should be able to project or explain what your podcast is and what it entails and what your future might will be and how it'll help that person? Well, you're going to arbitrarily say how it may help a company. And
Mhm.
then maybe when you're going to a particular pitch and whoever your audience is, you tailor it to the audience. So I think I think in my perspective, I would say just create your own pitch where you can speak to it, or like you go to a mirror and you can talk to yourself for about 5 minutes and ask about, talk about the podcast, assuming that there's somebody in front of you, you're telling yourself about the podcast.
Mhm.
Once you get the hang of it, you should not have a problem to explain or pitch it out to anyone. I
Mhm.
like Podfest because when you're there, people ask you about your podcast. Do you have a podcast? Yes, I do have a podcast. What's your podcast about? You're gonna explain it.
Mhm.
And I think for me, when I went to Podfest, I thought about my podcast as one part of a podcast. And after discussing with people, I figured out mine would be of an anthropology type of podcast,
Mhm.
whereas I thought it was more like a culture type of podcast. So you learn a lot when you keep pitching with people, and that totally helps you out whenever you're podcasting with your peers. And I think that was my takeaway for the elevator pitch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff there. Sure.
And then I think we talked about brands, aligning to brands. Uh,
Yes.
question: Are you open to a lot of brands, or how are you looking at brands? Are your brands going to be like, let's say, for me personally, I'm going to align to the brands that I feel will be helpful to my to my listeners and my viewers. If
Mhm.
I take something that's out of the blue, I think it will not make sense.
Mhm.
So I have to align myself to things that my people would want to purchase or will be interested in. Not something I'm not out to pick out the. It's not about the money. Let me say now. Wait, it's not about the money, but I think at some point, yes, dollars and cents will get into that spectrum. We'll get into that spectrum of money. But for now, I think I want to enjoy just being more driven by passion of the podcast. What say you?
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely having a conscious with this podcast, the you know, heartbeat behind it, or the thought behind it was definitely being having a conscious. And so, like we're not just driven by money, and we don't sell any old thing, including our soul, to make $1. That's not it. But if it's something that makes sense and it's not harming anyone, and it basically pushes us the agenda of putting content out, I would be on board with moving um, the podcast in that direction to monetize. I mean, it this is not, even though it's something that you can do for free, to put this level of content out. There's cost involved, and so resources are needed, and so it makes sense, especially if you're really serious about podcasting, to you know align yourself where you can monetize either the skill or the podcast. We learned that from some of our good friends. If you're not monetizing the podcast, you can monetize the skills. And so, and I've actually done that along the way here with the live selling side business. I'm definitely using some of my skills with that. And, so yeah.
Okay, now let me come here and do this. Jen, you talk about creators who you asked this question about creators who are introverted. What's your advice? Because
Um,
you consider yourself as an introvert. So what advice would you give? Because you do sell on the coffee closet with Jen. You make some sales there. How do you get yourself ready and prepare yourself
yeah,
for
so I,
that?
yeah, definitely had, I, pushed myself and have gotten more comfortable doing this since, guys, been since 2020 doing the podcast. So definitely feel more comfortable. Of course, there's a little bit of nervousness with turning the camera on and going live, But, I am motivated by, success. I feel like, I enjoy, clothing and body positivity. And I see other people get excited about, things that people in this circle, that work for them. And so I get, excited about that too. And I'm able to do well. And I have done well. And I know that putting more energy into those efforts, I can really be successful. So, I'm hopeful about pushing the business, pushing it forward so that I can be more successful. Because I know it's other, it's very niche. But there's riches in the niches, because even though it's like a small group, we hear, how many times have we heard that, right? I believe it's true. I really believe it's true. But you have to be, creative and, um, be dedicated. And I am. So I feel like it will work. So,
And, yeah, I think I've also experienced the same thing. Somebody was giving me flowers yesterday regarding the way I have evolved. They said they never used to think of me as a speaker or how I would speak on podcasts or in front of people, but it's changed how they have thought about me.
mm,
And I, to me, I would say podcasting is one thing that has removed me off of my shell. I know I'm a person with sometimes high energy. I'll get the high energy, and then after a while, yeah, it comes to a point where I like, okay, I need to relax and sit down and enjoy or take in what I've done for the day. It kind of happened like that, especially at Podfest, where I realized, okay, I can be conversing with everybody. I can be talking about stuff with everybody. I can help everybody. But then after a while, I need to kind of bring myself down to where I kind of chill and relax. And that's the part where now I feel, can I say my introvertedness come in? Uh, when I realize that, yes, you've been doing this for alone for a whole day and nobody has been around you, or, right now there's nobody and how you're going to conquer yourself.
mm,
And I think it is this situations where I don't have anyone and I don't know the unknown, but I'm forced to be there and show up and be positive, that I try. And I think, in my perspective, it has worked so far. I'm still work in progress. We are still working on it, but I'm better than the way I was in 2020. So for the creators who are introverted and feel that you're introverted, there's hope. Just keep going at it. They tell you go in front of the mirror with your microphone and talk, or talk to yourself in front of a mirror. Gain your confidence, and once you get out there, especially with a podcast, it's a bit easier in a podcast than when you're speaking to people, because you can see emotions. Um, but I think after speaking one or two, three occasions, it's been okay. I
mm.
I'll make a mess of myself. I'll make a fool out of myself. I mean, hey, with my kids, I even go and blow like get a blowhorn in the stadium and then scream, and I'm comfortable. So I think once you get to that comfortable self, you'll be okay. We'll be okay. So I'm glad you're there.
We'll also add, I feel like you were really in your bag at Rose Audio for your presentation. You had the, your cultural
Oh,
outfits. And, and I feel like you really, gave your storytelling presentation, a full, presentation.
it was great. Thank you. But I still had my jitters when we started off, but I'm glad it came off best as it was.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. Just keep at it. And a lot of people think that everything is 100% perfect when you're sitting there, or you're speaking, but you don't know what's going on wrong, or how the person is. They don't know. All they're expecting from you is a good show. So you just have to kind of say they don't know they don't know what's going on, and that's your secret, right? And you just show up and do your best. But
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. But no, I think that was nothing to sneeze at,
Hmm.
even with, it won't be the same. But I feel like that moment in time, it really was kind of, something that won't be captured again. Like, how often can you say you have, that many people from different, places in Africa together
Right.
sharing their storytelling moments in that way? It was, really a beautiful moment that you were a part of. So,
Yeah, and yeah, that was exactly what it was. Yeah, I had my mind when you said it was a beautiful moment, and so with that, um, we asked him about his legacy, and he had quite an interesting story about his legacy, what he wanted for his legacy. He said he wanted everybody to know who he was and that he left a mark, a positive mark in podcasting, which was a I can't say it's generic. He had a spin to it. You'd have to go and listen to the show, and or watch the show to be able to tell to know what exactly he said. But it was positive, and I liked. I liked. I even liked the way he told us. Our conversations are authentic. They're not scripted or anything like that. And we're doing it. We're doing it.
oh, compliment. Yeah, he definitely, with his legacy, he definitely said like being a type of person that would help other people who are down on their luck and things like that. So I thought that was, really cool of him to say, and that, he, hadn't done a whole lot of guesting, but he's, more open to that. And he is kind of starting this tour, of sharing about his listener migration concept. So, kudos and shout out to JR for doing that. I definitely think he should go and share that with others. And I think that's the cool thing about being a content creator is not just
Hmm.
putting your content out there, but sharing it and spreading it to spread. Imagine that. Nice.
I
Imagine
know
that.
that to spread like sambaza, right? Sambaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, as we wind up, this is the episode 204, where we had a roundtable with JR Sparrow, leveling up your game, Jane and Sambaza. And if you want to contact Sparrow, his email is wvuncommonplace@gmail.com. If you have any queries or any questions, or you can he said he's not, oh yeah, he said he's not really into being online that much, so best get him via the email and then he'll be able to get in touch with you. um I think that was it about
Yeah, we'll
himself.
have the audio in the coming weeks. Definitely by Easter or something like that. Yeah. I'll
Oh
have
yeah, oh okay,
updated.
all right. So I guess with that, we can sum it up like it was a great episode. Looking forward to next week where we have another guest, and we're going to be bringing you stories and interesting stories for that matter. So kindly join us next week. And it's been lovely.
Thanks,
Sambazaji,
guys.
bye. Jen, you have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right.